Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. So we saw an eventful weekend where a whole lot of sporting activities came back, and then those that were on international break found themselves back to their clubs and represented. We saw actions in Barcelona, Real Madrid. We also saw actions in the EPL, and also we saw actions in the FA Cup where the semi-final draws has been done already, and there's just so much excitement for the semi-finals. Finally, Rashford, who has been on loan for the past month with Aston Villa, finally found the back of the net just this past weekend. So that's very interesting and exciting for him, because it's seeming as if he has found his footing with Aston Villa and has gotten back to his ways of scoring goals, based on the fact that he has suffered lots of challenges with with Manchester United, I beg your pardon. So he is more finding his footing and getting more comfortable when it comes to goal scoring. So we'll be kick-starting from the home front as always, where the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation has announced its dates for the 2025 Under 12 campaign. The Nigerian Table Tennis Federation has announced the 2025 Under 12 National Hopes Week, which will take place from April the 2nd to 8th at the training hall of the National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos. The National Hopes Week aims to discover and nurture young table tennis talents from across the country, with the best under 12 players from various states and regions converging in Lagos for intensive training camp. According to the body, selected ITTF certified coaches will guide the young athletes, introducing them to techniques and also tactics in table tennis. The event is designed to provide a platform for young players to showcase their skills, gain valuable experience, and develop their game in preparation for continental and world competitions, which has been the major plan and also the major call that Shehu Diko, the current commissioner of sport in Nigeria, has been calling on, for the fact that grassroots sporting activities needs to be improved and needs to be developed. On that note, we've been seeing series of campaign and being introduced. Currently, that's one going on in Lagos, where the ITT, that's talking about the yellow and green, are getting set to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. So looking at all of these activities now is very, very interesting, and it shows superb a power and initiative that would help propel the next generation of table tennis players, so we can be having Nigerians also topping the world of table tennis in the continent of Africa. Currently, we have Kwadwo Haruna, who is sitting as the number one, as a champion of the continent of Africa, who is currently doing amazing well in India on an ITT competition that is ongoing currently as we speak. So this is an avenue to have young lads and also have certified coaches who can step in and also help coach these younger guys, younger kids, on how to be professional with new tactics and valuable experience that will help them in the continent when they go to represent Nigeria in any of competitions that will be coming up shortly. So moving away from that, NFF selects coaches for CAF B license courses. Participants in the first batch of the CAF B license coaching course that will run between April and August 2025 has been identified and contracted by the technical department of the Nigerian Football Federation. The technical director is Austin Iguavo, who was once the former coach of the Super Eagles, and still the technical director as we speak. Those who will take part in the first batch have been selected and contacted, or applicants are advised to check their mails, including junk and stamp sections, as time-sensitive information is attached. NFF technical director coach Augustine Iguavo told newsmen that the 4-month course, part of the NFF strategic efforts to build the capacity of coaches across the country, will be done in models which will run between April the 7th to the 25th of August 2025. Successful applicants for the second and third batches will be selected and contacted in the coming weeks. So we're having all of this now is opening more rooms for us to have more home-based coach and coaches that can fly and also represent the country. And maybe if you meet the standards, if the individuals not get to meet the standard, they'll be able to coach the Super Eagles or the under 17 or under 19 or under 20 boys when the time comes, if they do qualify to meet the standards. So all of this is open, and those contacted should get themselves ready. So moving away from NFF, and let's talk about World Cup qualifiers for the junior yellow and greens as they suffer their second defeats. Currently, there is still no recipient for Nigeria's male under-19 cricket team, the junior yellow and greens, at the ongoing 2026 ICC under-19 men's World Cup qualifiers in Lagos after losing their second game of the series by a whooping 122 runs against Tanzania. Playing in front of the home fans at the Tafawa Balewa Cricket Overall, Onyikan coach Daniel Grim's side needed a win against Tanzania to revive their chance of picking the sole ticket from the series, but they were slipped to another damaging defeat, having them losing their opening match against Namibia last Friday. Tanzanians won the toss and opted to bat in the first inning, with their captain Braskin leading the charge with 44 runs off 79 balls. He also supported by Darren Jasper with 32 off 83 balls, frustrating Nigerians blowing despite Abdullahi's 3 wickets. So looking at all of this now, there's so much work that needs to be done in the yellow and greens. We saw the ladies, go all through to Malaysia and then came back with a bronze medal, coming back third position in the 2025 ICC Women's World Cup that happened in Malaysia earlier this year. Last year we saw the women also getting bronze medal in the All-African Games. Now the men need to actually step up and get themselves right when it comes to the aspect of preparation and also trying to get tickets to go represent Nigeria in the continent. So looking at all of this now, more work needs to be done for the junior yellow and green so as to be able to perform. But as it stands now, it's hanging in the balance. It's still hanging in the balance to see if the junior yellow and greens will still qualify after losing 2 consecutive games with no points. So it's literally not looking as if they would be able to make it. But the experience is so much more welcoming based on the fact that this happened back home here in Nigeria. This qualifiers happened back home here in Nigeria, and then we've had countries like Namibia, Tanzania, Cameroon who are very, very big on cricket. So we'll be seeing what the next couple of years, what the nearest future would see for the junior yellow and greens, and again the entire cricket federation here in Nigeria on how to represent Nigeria very well. Talking about that, we just hope to see a certain level of more commitment and more tactics being introduced to the team so as to be able to qualify for the next innings. Moving away from that, Commonwealth Fencing ratifies Nigerians hosting rights. The Commonwealth Fencing Federation has formally awarded hosting rights for the 2026 Commonwealth Fencing Championship to Nigerian Fencing Federation ahead of Australia a few months after giving the country the provisional hosting rights. The final nod makes Nigeria the first sub-Saharan nation to stage the tournament, having also become the first to host the Junior EP World Cup, which was held in Lagos last December. In a letter issued by the CFF President, Maria France Dofor, and addressed to all members nation, it was resolved by a majority decision of the board to award the hosting rights to Nigeria after reviewing the technical commitments and its reports. Based on fencing, this is a sport that Nigerians are getting themselves into, and then we're seeing high levels of participation coming from those angles. So talking about technical commitment and also the committee, based on the fact that Nigeria and Australia were placed on the table to see which of the country would be the host nation for this year's competition, and Nigeria emerged victorious in that light. So we would see how all of that would be happening. It might be happening here in the Federal Capital Territory or Lagos, but that has not been finalized yet. But looking at all of these angles now, it shows that fencing and other sporting activities is being gradually developed, is being gradually adopted here in Nigeria. Just like last year we saw during the Olympics, we saw Nigerian cyclists cycling, and also we saw new athletes coming out and representing the country, despite the fact that we didn't get the results. Most of the athletes didn't get the results that they wanted, but they were still able to represent at that level. So we'll be seeing how all of this will be panning out, and preparations for the championship, which is going to be held either here in Abuja or in Lagos. All of those angles will be taken care of, and we'll definitely bring you updates from those. We'll be going on a quick break, and then when we return back, we'll be having conversations around players who were once injured and now back to playing football. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
That global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Now, Murphy is finally happy to return after 8 months of injury. OGC Nice's forward, Tyrone Murphy, is delighted to have finally returned to action after his lengthy injury layoff. The Nigerian international featured for the first time in almost a year just this past weekend in Nice's 2-1 victory over Monaco. Murphy played for 8 minutes after replacing Baptiste Stamares. The 25-year-old was sidelined for around 8 months after sustaining a cruciating legitimate injury in training during pre-season. Murphy returned to light training in mid-February before joining the main team earlier this month, but as usual, with players who suffer long-term injuries, needs have been careful and patient with him to help him reach match fitness and prevent any relapse. So looking at all of this now, Murphy came in and then he's on his verge. He also didn't get invited based on the fact, so the Super Eagles, based on the fact that he was injured, and we know that he was very, very crucial for Super Eagles when during the qualifiers. But now we saw that due to the injury worries, and a whole lot of teams and coaches have been doing that based one specific reason that if you're not performing so well with your club side, then there's no chance for you to even try to come and play in your countryside. The same thing is happening with the Three Lions. The same thing is happening with the Haute Terrain. Happening with the Italians, the same thing is happening with the Portuguese team. So we are seeing all of that, and then Coach Eric Chelle is also adopting the same method of play. If you're not healthy enough and you're not performing, even if you're healthy and you're not performing so much for your club side and you're not fitting into the plan of Eric, so he doesn't even give no call-ups to you. So this is the same thing that is happening. But in the next couple of matches that will be played between Nigeria, the Super Eagles, and South Africa, and also between the Super Eagles and Benin Republic, which is actually going to tell if we will make it through to the World Cup that will be played in Mexico, Canada, or the US. If Murphy might be invited to come feature then. But looking at all of these angles now, strikers and attackers are what we have. We have bunch of it. The Super Eagles have bunch of strikers. So how other players, how Murphy is going to fit in is something Eric Chelle is going to look into. But before something like that could happen, we would see if he would be able to, get back to his winning ways, and as well as tend to keep scoring. And then if he picks up form and not have those injury setbacks, there might be a chance for him to come represent in the Super Eagles. We're happy for Murphy for getting back to fitness, and congratulations on him for coming back and also being victorious on his night out to play with Denise. So moving on, Jos Maja, doubtful for the rest of the season. Talking about another Super Eagle, Jos Maja could miss the rest of the season as Coach Tony Muwabari has revealed that the Super Eagles striker is yet to recover from his lower leg injury. Maja has been out of action since the start of January when he suffered a lower leg injury. Before his injury, he was in top form, registering 12 goals and 2 assists in 26 appearances. Due to his injury, he had undergone surgery at the time of the injury, and which has kept him out of action from West Brom's last 14 games across all competition. At the time of his injury, it was reported that Maja could be out of action until February at last. However, the Super Eagles striker is yet to return to action. So injury worries has been something that has seriously been affecting Jos Maja's career, and it's a whole lot of concerns based on the fact that he's now advancing in age. Currently, he's 25, and we've seen players at 25 have always been, this age period, this age bracket has always been the time for them to be superb. It's a pick-up time for them for, in terms of form, fitness, and level of performance. We're seeing the likes of Victor Boniface, Victor Osimhen. We're seeing the likes of Ademola Lookman. So those same age brackets, we're seeing players, perform superbly well, but he is having injury worries. We've seen the likes of Moses Simon, Samuel Chukwueze, who are on form and looking at the same age bracket. But for Jos Maja, we've seen this injury worries have been major setback for him and his career. He hasn't featured in the last 14 games for West Brom, who he has been a very, very crucial player for. He's a crucial fit for the team. But we'll see how all of those will happen in the next couple of months if he would recover fully and then find himself doing that which he loves to do most. We just wish him a very, very quick recovery from those lower knee injury that he has. So moving on, FA Cup semi-finals draw is finally here, and Manchester City has been handed a tricky Wembley test after beating West Brom. High-flying Nottingham Forest will face Manchester City in the semi-finals of the FA Cup after the Premier League champions won 2-1 victory over Bournemouth as of Sunday. Meanwhile, Aston Villa's forward reward for beating championship side Preston North in not end in a clash with Crystal Palace in the other last 4 encounters at the Wembley. The draw for the semi-finals will be held over the weekend of April 26 and 27. Took place shortly after Villa won 3-0 at Preston on Sunday. That followed Crystal Palace 3-0 victory away in Fulham on Saturday, as well as Nottingham Forest penalty shootout success after a goalless draw at Brighton. Bournemouth, we are hoping to reach the FA Cup semi-finals for the first time since their 126-year history after taking the lead through Everton in the 21st minute. But second half goal from Erling Haaland and Omar Mushroom turned the tie for City. After qualifying, Pep Guardiola's side have now taken part in 8 of the last 9 semi-final rounds, and we are hoping to see what that is actually going to yield for the team. Looking at the current Manchester City team now on the EPL table, log they are sitting at number 5 with 48 points behind Chelsea, who is sitting at the number 4th position with 49 points. So looking at all of this now, and looking at all of these angles now, 29 games played in the Premier League as it stands, and then around 7 more games remaining before the season comes to an end. Liverpool are sitting quietly up with lots of gap, and then Arsenal tailing behind Nottingham Forest in the 3rd place, Chelsea 4th, and then Manchester City 5th. Now, Manchester City only have a chance to win this FA Cup final. As last year, they made it through to the FA Cup finals, and Eric Ten Hag made sure that Manchester United had the last laugh on that night. So, and I think Eric Ten Hag did that based on the fact that it was either his job or the trophy. And then Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Manu made sure that he had his job and Manchester United had the last trophy. So Manchester United currently, as we speak, are the defending champions. Now, looking at Manchester City now, on the other hand, winning a trophy is something Pep Guardiola always wants to do at the end of the season. It doesn't matter how many trophies he does win, but he just wants to win the trophy now. Looking at his whole focus now, Premier League is actually looking done for him, because there's no how they can contend based looking at the fact they are sitting at the number 5th position with 48 points and 29 games played. Now there is no chance for them to even contend with the trophy, so that is done. So they're just going to find their way back to Champions League and then Europa, which is looking solid already for them, for Manchester City. So now looking at the FA Cup now, I think the FA Cup now is just going to be the whole aim for Manchester City, based on the fact that they would want to win a trophy. Typically, Manchester City this season have injury worries, and also Pep Guardiola also have personal issues, which have been said was contributed to the fact that his team didn't perform at that high level that we always see. So we'll see how all of this will pan out. Playing Nottingham Forest, who is sitting at the number 3rd position, the Premier League log, and are very, very fit and hungry to, make something out for themselves. We'll see how that will happen, because we'll see the final scoreline, because at the end of the day, it's actually going to look like a final before the final, because Nottingham Forest are always, they are very, very intentional when they are playing Manchester City, and then Manchester City is looking for a way to get back its momentum to winning ways. So we'll see how all of those things will pan out in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be seeing those semi-finals being played, and we'll see how Manchester City will be able to scale through Nottingham Forest, or Nottingham Forest will have the last laugh. We'll see how that will happen, because from the semi-finals it's all through to the finals, and then we'll see who would emerge victorious. So moving away from Manchester City, we are still talking FA Cup. Aston Villa in FA Cup quarter-final win over Preston. Marcus Rashford launched a subtle dig at Manchester United boss Ruben Amorim after scoring his first goal for Aston Villa. Rashford left United on loan last month, having fallen out of favour under Amorim. The 27-year-old has enjoyed a new lease of life at Villa, who has an option to sign him permanently at the end of the season. Rashford scored a brace, which included a penalty, as Villa beat Preston 3-0 on Sunday to reach the semi-finals of the quarter of the FA Cup. Having made an impact at the club level, Rashford has worked his way back to England squad and was called up by Thomas Tuchel for the rest of the international games. Rashford now appears to be playing with much confidence away from Old Trafford, and he is happy. So looking at Rashford now, like rightly mentioned, injury worries can actually affect the player, and again, who is going to help that player get back to form? It's going to be the coach most of the time, some technical director, and then his coaching crew. When Van Nistelrooy came back to came to Manchester United to assist Erik ten Hag, and then the end of the day he gets on fire, and then Erik ten Hag being the boss. Van Nistelrooy, I beg your pardon, being the boss. So now we saw Marcus Rashford scoring a couple of goals and also playing with confidence based on the fact that there's a one-on-one kind of relationship he likes, that's coaching relationship that he wants with the coach. And then we saw Van Nistelrooy giving him that, and then we saw his confidence coming back. Now, the same thing is happening with Aston Villa, with the current coach now being friendly and having that one-on-one relationship with him is also helping him get back to winning ways. Like Thomas Tuchel mentioned way before he started having call-ups for the England squad, talking about the Three Lions. Now he says if you're not performing well, there is no how you're even going to come play. So looking at those angles now, Marcus Rashford has started getting his confidence back, and he is looking like the Rashford that we used to know. Though he's not there yet, but he's looking like the Rashford that we used to know based on his form and then level of confidence. Now, would he want to go back to Manchester United after the rift he had with Ruben Amorim, who is the current head coach? Now, we don't know if that will happen based on the fact that there is a clause that shows that Aston Villa can be able to sign him at the end of the summer. So we'll see how that pans out. But for Manchester United now, there's a lot of work that needs to be done now. Aside from team work, stadium work is actually going on. So looking at how Rashford is looking happy currently, he might just decide to remain in Aston Villa, looking at the fact that he's scoring goals now, getting his confidence back. But another thing is, would he want to go back, make it to the Champions League? Yes, he's at a better position to get to Champions League next season with Aston Villa and Europa better than Manchester United. Manchester United are currently sitting at the number 13th position on the Premier League log, which is not, looking so well for them to get to other competitions. They're just going to focus more on the FA Cup and also Carling Cup and the EPL. So we'll see how all of that will happen for Manchester United in the couple of weeks, based on the fact that the summer is around the corner and transfer windows are widely open, because coaches and teams are scouting for players to solidify what they've been working on and advance to other competitions. Well, we'll see how all of that works out. Happy for Rashford, who is getting back his confidence and scoring goals, and we'll see how all of those pans out by the end of the summer. If Rashford will remain currently with Aston Villa, or would find way back to Manchester United, but still the rifts, and then there's still trouble in paradise between him and Ruben Amorim, which hasn't been sorted yet. Will they be able to find themselves on the same page before the end of the summer? We'll find out before that time. We'll be going on another quick break, and then when we return back, we'll be going straight to La Liga, where Barcelona restored their La Liga hopes after coming from behind. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Barcelona restores La Liga lead after trashing Girona 4-1. Robert Lewandowski bragged a brace as Barcelona eased to a 4-1 victory over Girona to move 3 points clear of the top of the La Liga table as of Sunday. After second placed Real Madrid pulled off leveler on point with them as of Saturday after beating Lens. Haskins Flick's side restored their advantage at the Olympic Stadium. Lewandowski responded to Madrid striker Kylian Mbappe's double with one of his own as they stay 3 goals ahead of race of the Spanish Golden Boot. So looking at Kylian Mbappe and Robert Lewandowski, those is ahead chasing for the Spanish Golden Boot. But looking at Barcelona now, they're looking clear about winning this year's La Liga based on the fact that Real Madrid, they are not giving up on the chase, but it's looking more solid for Barcelona based on the current form that the players have and the current strategies that the head coach is bringing to help them, advance further and win more matches. So we'll just see how all of that pans out in the La Liga, and Real Madrid are actually tailing behind and more focused on the Champions League. So we'll see how if Ancelotti will be able to win the Champions League and also win the La Liga. But some sport analysts and fans have been reacting that this year's Champions League trophy, it's going to head to PSG. I don't know how that will pan out. I don't know why they are saying all of that, but we'll see how that happens. But when it comes to Champions League, for me, I'm always scared of Real Madrid because, they have what it takes to play in the Champions League. They can come back from behind and still, defeat any opponents that they have based on their experience and being 15-time champions of the same league. So I'll just see how all of that will pan out, but we'll still have that conversation. Now, let's talk about Real Madrid, where they make a late comeback with Kylian Mbappe striking twice as Real Madrid came back from behind to beat Leeds 3-2, pulling leveler on points with La Liga leaders Barcelona. Carlo Ancelotti's side won an entertaining game at the Santiago Bernabeu to put pressure on their bitter rivals who had hosted Girona and defeated them 4-0. So we are seeing all of these angles now. We are seeing players and we're seeing coaches. The season has gotten to that point where he who wants it all is actually going to come out and show more works and then see how he would be able to, take the trophy. But those that are not looking like it, just like we rightly mentioned earlier in the Nigerian Professional Football League, the league table is always changing. And just this past weekend, we saw a level of change that happened just this past weekend. So looking at it is the same thing that is happening in the EPL, FA Cup, and also La Liga. Talking about Serie A, also we are seeing changes on the league table. So it has gotten to that point where teams and players are actually struggling to get themselves awarded Golden Boot, just like what's going on between Kylian Mbappe and Lewandowski. So we're just seeing how all of those things will actually pan out and how these teams will be significant and superb for themselves and then make it all through to what we call the finals, and then see how they are going to get themselves awarded and then leave the trophy, because you can't be playing and not leave the trophy. That's the legacy that you would be leaving. Most of these players will be leaving behind. So let's have a little conversation around basketball, where in the next couple of weeks, that's next weekend, where the City League will be kick-starting here in Abuja, and also on the 19th, a couple of days afterwards, on the 19th, the following weekend, we'll be seeing where the NBA playoffs will be kicking in, and then we'll see where players will be getting themselves ready to go contest and compete for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Now, looking at the current realities now, understandings now, Golden State Warriors have made it through to the playoffs. Lakers have also made it through. OKC have made it through. We've seen Timberwolves, who are in the play-in, struggling, trying to find themselves back so that they can make it to the playoffs. Phoenix Suns are currently in the play-in, and then maybe they'll be having the next couple of games this week, and then that would we'll see if they'll make their ways back into the playoffs. Then on the other side, I was talking about the West. Now let's talk about the East. We've seen Milwaukee Bucks, we've seen Denver Nuggets, we've seen Bolton Celtics, we've seen Hornets, and then we've also seen LA Clippers. All of these teams have made it all through to the playoffs, and they are looking very hungry. Not forgetting New York Knicks. All of these teams have made it all through to the NBA playoffs, which is going to be kickstarting from the 19th of April all through, and then it's going to be a Game 7 series where each teams will face each other back and forth for 7 games, and then any team that emerges with the highest win, that's maybe let's say 4-3 or 4-0 or 3-0, there'll be 4-1 actually is even an avenue. 3-1 is an avenue you can be able to come back. We've seen where Cleveland came back to defeat Golden State Warriors in the 2017-2018 series, when they came back from 3-0 down and then defeated Golden State Warriors to win the Lion O'Brien Trophy, which made LeBron James' trophy the third in the NBA. But currently, he has 4 trophies. He won one again at the bubble. Now, Stephen Curry has 4 trophies, and then he's looking to see if he will be able to get another trophy with the mix of him having Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and himself on the same team. Stephen Curry suffered a little bit of tail injury a couple of weeks ago, but he is back to training and is looking as if he is going to, continue his run. We have Jonathan Kuminga, who is also back, currently playing on the mix with Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and also Jimmy Butler. But there's a concern for Golden State Warriors, which might affect them negatively in the playoffs, based on the fact that they don't have a natural big man. But Steve Kerr attested to the fact that they don't have a natural big man, but there's something he said they have that most teams don't have, which has to do with IQ. The level of IQ that Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Stephen Curry have put together can be able to have a team run all through without even having a natural big man. But let's look at the Lakers now, and then also look at Dallas Mavericks. These two teams now, we had the shocker trade that has actually hasn't happened in the long time, which happened this season, where Luka was traded to Lakers and then Anthony Davis was traded to the Mavericks. Now, some persons have said in the long run, the Lakers are actually going to enjoy the trade, based on the fact that LeBron James is 40 years old. He has, let's say, 2 more years to be in the NBA, and then he's going to retire. Now, the entire Lakers roster, they are now building around Luka, who has been very exceptional for the team. When LeBron James suffered a little bit of injury, he was able to keep the shop going and then help the Lakers win a couple of games. So looking at all of this now, they are building around Luka and Bronny James, and then we are seeing Hachimura, who is also coming back who suffered a couple of injuries. Now let's look at Maverick Dallas. Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, and AD are currently on the team. Those are the big 3 of the team. And then this trade just happened just this season, where Klay Thompson moves from Golden State Warriors to Dallas, and also AD moves from Lakers to Dallas. And then we saw that last season, we saw Kyrie Irving moving from Brooklyn Nets to the Dallas, which has been eventful. And last season, Luka and Kyrie made sure they went through to the NBA Finals, but we have Jason Tatum and Jalen Green, including Drew Holiday, made sure that the Dallas didn't have to win that trophy, and then they emerged. That's talking about Boston Celtics now emerged as victorious, so as the champions and current defending champions of the NBA. So looking at all of this game now and all of these teams, if the Mavericks get to meet the Celtics in an NBA final now, I don't think it's going to be very, very difficult for the Celtics to be able to defeat the Mavericks now as it stands, based on the current form, unless injury worry sets in and then AD goes out or Kyrie Irving goes out, because with or without AD, it's very certain that Kyrie can be able to drop 50 to 60 points every night without the help of AD. And on the other hand, we can also see Klay Thompson drop another 30 to 25 points every night without the help of AD. That's talking about Anthony Davis. So we'll see how all of this pans out. The NBA playoffs is around the corner. Abuja City League 2 will be kickstarting next weekend. So we'll see how all of this on the 12th of April, that's upper weekend, yes. So we'll see how all of those things, all of these basketball games will be evolving, and we'll definitely be bringing you updates live from City League and also from the NBA players as it unfolds. So this is how much time will permit us to take on today's edition of Talk Sports. My name is Samuel Odi. I want to say a very big thank you to the production team for making today's production seamless. I'll see you again as we talk sports. Bye for now.